It was horrific. People were traumatised by it. They still remain traumatised by it.
They sent us into a war zone.
It's what felt like hundreds of locals running in with machetes and knives, just seeing people as human cash machines. We came to your country for the festival of football. You served us up a carnival of horrors. First thing that come into my mind in the ground when that come on that scream was, here we go, here we go. We'd already had the feeling that people were going to die outside.
Joe Blott told me that this was bringing his thoughts and nightmares back from both Hazel and Hillsborough. That is some statement. The fan park was roasting. They didn't have one single drink that was non-alcoholic in that heat. I was there with children. We could literally not get anything to drink inside there and had to leave quite quickly. Already then it was too many people in a sort of squashed area. We thought we better get out of here because it's going to be absolutely chaos getting up to the ground.
Once we arrived at 3 p.m, made our way up to the stadium, we could see the lines that they had in place, and straight away there was concern there.
Our gate was shut. So we met an hour and a half before kickoff. We met hundreds of people in front of our gate and nothing happened.
So at 6 p.m, we made our way down to the stadium with my wife. Got to this line that we'd seen, soft ticket check they call it, just locals just streaming through, just walking through, about 5 or 6 heavily armed police there, not interested. Walked up to the stadium, seen Liverpool's police liaison officer there, said to him, I've just seen 3 hours of chaos there. He said, if you think that's bad, you want to see what's been going on here.
You know, I was getting texts and phone calls saying, you know, just how bad it was building up. But, you know, at that moment, which is what, 6 o'clock, towards 6:15, you wouldn't expect it to be that bad, so you'd then expect the rest of it to be managed. But clearly, you know, it just got worse and worse and worse, and the build-up just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
This was now 6 o'clock. Next minute, a load of police ran past. They were obviously making their way to the underpass where there was chaos for Liverpool fans. Where we were, gate XYZ, couldn't see a thing.
And already then, you know, all those kids who were just trying to steal your ticket, paper tickets, they didn't scan it. It was just a mess. And this random great Scouser who protected us and got us in, he said, don't take out your ticket until you're right by the gate. It was just awkward, not very nice, and it was already past kick-off time by then.
And as we made our way down to the accessible entrance, there was 3 wheelchair users there, and there was chaos at the turnstiles. People's tickets weren't scanning. One guy had gone through his PA and he couldn't get through. And he's saying that, you know, his tickets work, mine won't scan. Next minute there's a scuffle. This guy, Liverpool fan, about 70, ends up on the floor. Steward goes flying, lands on one of our people who were in a wheelchair. At which stage I had to phone our SLO, Yonat Shirabi, from Liverpool Football Club to come round and intervene.
And my husband called me and they said, don't worry, they postponed the game. So we got in 20 minutes after the original kick-off time, and by then the day was ruined for us because we had panicked so much.
Yeah, I'm a survivor at Hillsborough. I lost my 15-year-old cousin at Hillsborough. First thing that come into my mind in the ground when that come on that scream was, here we go.
Don't come here and tell me we were late, because we were not late.
And then you think that you're going to walk out and you think you're just going to get the train back to your airport or your hotel or whatever, and then to face the difficulties from what, you know, the locals did, what the French police, what the French authorities could have managed, was truly awful.
So we wanted to walk along the motorway and the police wouldn't let us. They forced us over this flyaway, and that's where hell broke loose. They sent us into a war zone.
I was attacked in my wheelchair with my wife by just what felt like hundreds of locals running in with machetes and knives, just seeing people as human cash machines.
We had mobs attacking us from the back, and at the end of the flyway we had other mobs attacking us from the sides. So no matter what we did, we were trapped.
Got to the station, thought we'd be safe, and then for our trouble, the police then decided to tear gas and pepper spray us.
I can't ever, forgive what they did to us.
It was horrendous, truly horrendous.
You can't tell me that the police didn't see all these gangs. Why on earth did they continue to send people into that war when they knew what was going on?
Throughout the course of the few hours before the game, we were getting messages that blind supporters separated from the guides. We had 6-year-old kids with neurodiverse conditions who were separated from the parents and terrified. Wheelchair users being crowd surfed over turnstiles. It was horrendous, just absolutely horrendous.
We knew we had to kill the narrative that was being put out there very, very quickly. So, we just got into full gear in terms of calling all our media contacts to have that conversation, really. The first point of the journey, really, was around going to the French Senate in June last year. Because our first priority and our only priority, really, at the time was to clear Liverpool fans' name. And that was the critical thing we wanted to do. So, we did that within 24, 25 days.
Joe, just two normal lads from Liverpool who represent supporters groups, and to be in the Palais de Luxembourg, the first non-native French speakers to ever appear, was daunting. Then going into a room, in front of all these French senators, and just to go in to tell the truth. We had two reasons to go there. The first was to tell the truth, ensure Liverpool supporters were exonerated because they saved lives that day. And secondly was to kill the narrative of Hillsborough.
UEFA had been in the room early in the morning and we completely exposed the lies that they'd put together. And of course they'd already had their own French cabinet members in, and they know that they were lying as well. So they heard the truth from us. And
I'm proud to say that we came out of that room and we'd exonerated Liverpool fans. We'd killed the narrative of Hillsborough. Wasn't mentioned from that day to this day, which has probably saved lives. Let's not, by any stretch of the imagination, underestimate that. That has probably saved lives. And to receive a standing ovation from French senators, we're in their country, we were attacking their government, we were attacking their president and the French Interior Minister, whose resignation I'd asked for, because he was the first one to bring Hillsborough into play. And I was absolutely furious at that. I've since had a letter of apology from him, which will remain private. The process for us was to speak for the supporters of Liverpool Football Club and to bring real change into UEFA going forward, not just for Liverpool fans neither, for all football fans, from my own particular point of view, for disabled supporters who, it's horrific going around Europe as a disabled supporter.
Do you feel that UEFA have recognised their own role rather than blaming it all on the French authorities and the policing?
Yeah, certainly speaking to the Deputy Presidents, I'd say they certainly have.
I'd be very surprised if UEFA ever hold an event in Paris ever again, or France. And that was the level we've been working at. We've been right at the top level. Firmly believe that Theodore Reeders is a man of integrity and honesty. Nothing's happened since that day that convinces me otherwise of that. I believe there will be positive change.
He was honest, he was forthright. He reflected, in a confidential way, some of the concerns that he'd had, and that he wanted to put right for the future. And you can only take people on their word.
And last week, Theo's deputy, Giorgio Marchetti, you might know from the UEFA draws, he's the guy who sits there, thinks he's dead funny, and he actually is. Met him in person. He flew into Liverpool to meet with me last Wednesday, and while we were on, he took a call from President Sefrin, who thanked myself and Joe for our involvement over the last 12 months for working with UEFA to bring about positive change for football supporters. So we basically spoke to the 1, 2, 3 within UEFA.
We know that the FA have been in touch with us as well. We've had a long conversation with them because we were concerned that they hadn't done a great deal in terms of backing us really all the way through it. And you know, we heard at the time that they backed Sheffield to be the president again, and that was at the same time that we were going through all this. And they've reflected on that and said that, you know, they were wrong.
The seeds of change are there, you know, by the processes that will be put in place going forward. Supporters groups will meet before each game. We're open supporters groups will be actively involved in the reconnaissance missions, going out there before the game so we can see what we're up against, to put the right measures in place. I firmly believe that there's a strong commitment from UEFA to do that. So we will work with them to bring about this change. 2023 and UEFA have accepted that there is change needed and change will come.